Commander David Harper walked into the great chamber of Harmony Prime Station. The room was enormous, with walls that stretched up so high that the human eye could barely see the ceiling. Delegates from 47 different alien species sat in curved seats that faced a central platform. The air was cold, very cold. Harper could feel the weight of their attention as he moved forward. Harper was the human ambassador to the Intergalactic Council. For 20 years, he had worked to build peace and understanding between Earth and the galaxy. His silver hair was neat, his uniform was perfect, but his hands were shaking. They spoke first. They were crystalline beings, their bodies made of clear material that caught light and bent it into colors that human eyes had no names for. The lead delegate had a voice like breaking glass. "The data is conclusive," said. "In 300 years, humanity has gone from cave dwellers to space travelers. This rate of advancement is unprecedented, dangerous. We have run the calculations 1,000 times. The answer is always the same. Humanity cannot be trusted with freedom." Harper opened his mouth to speak, but another voice cut through the air. The Vex collective representative, a being made entirely of purple gas contained in a clear suit, floated forward. "We have conducted observation studies," the Vex said. "Humans respond to threat with immediate violence. They do not calculate, they do not think, they act. This is not logic, this is animal behavior. We have seen humans throw themselves into fire to save strangers. This is not survival instinct. This is madness." A delegate stood up. There were tall, thin beings with skin that changed color with their emotions. This one was turning red. "Humanity shows cooperative behavior across species lines," they said. "They form bonds quickly. They are loyal to those they love, but loyalty is dangerous. Loyalty makes species go to war. We have read your histories. Humans have destroyed civilizations over loyalty to a flag, to a religion, to a person. This is the most dangerous trait a species can have." Harper listened to the words. Each one was true. He could not deny them because they were true. Humans had done terrible things for loyalty. Humans had fought terrible wars. Humans had caused suffering. But there was more to the story. There was always more to the story. "We move for immediate classification," said. The crystal being raised one of its arms. "Category Red, most dangerous species in known space. Isolation protocol, quarantine of Earth and all human colonies. All human space vessels subject to confiscation and inspection. All human technology subject to oversight by the Council." The vote was fast, too fast, 39 in favor, 8 abstentions, 0 against. No one stood up for humanity. No one said that the decision was wrong. Harper stood very still. His hands were no longer shaking, they were numb. Outside the chamber in the observation deck above, Harper's daughter watched the vote. She was 28 years old. She was a witch, meant she learned alien languages and understood how different species thought and communicated. She had spent 5 years learning the language of one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They barely left their home system. No human had ever been invited to their world. Stood up from her seat, her hands were shaking, her eyes were full of tears. An Intergalactic Council officer walked up to her. The officer was not hostile. The officer's job was simply to inform her of the decision. "All human personnel on Harmony Prime must leave within 72 hours, the officer said. "This includes you, Dr. Harper. You are no longer authorized to be on this station." Nodded, she did not speak. She could not speak. She felt as if someone had reached into her chest and removed her heart. Back on Earth, the news spread in minutes. Every news channel reported the same thing. Category Red. Isolation. Humanity was officially the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The alien beings who had seemed so advanced, so kind, so willing to share knowledge, had just marked humanity for potential death. The first reaction was anger. Humans sent messages to the council chambers. They demanded to know why they had been judged without a fair hearing. They wanted answers. But no answers came. The second reaction was fear. What did Category Red mean? Would the aliens attack? Would they invade Earth? Would they simply leave humanity alone, cut off from the rest of the galaxy? The stock market crashed. People gathered in streets. Some people prayed. Some people broke things. In the military shipyards near Earth orbit, a human captain named Devon received orders. His ship, the HC Pathfinder, was to attempt a diplomatic mission to the outer colonies. He was to try to gather support from the humans who lived on distant worlds. Captain Devon was experienced. He had served in space for 15 years. He had made 6 different diplomatic journeys, but he had never been asked to do something that would certainly end in failure. He launched his ship anyway. The patrol ship caught him 2 days into his journey. "Identify yourself," the voice came through the radio. "This is the HC Pathfinder," Devon said. "We are on a peaceful diplomatic mission. We mean no harm. We seek only peace among the stars." There was no response. Devon could see the patrol ship on his sensors. It was moving closer. His ship had no weapons. The Pathfinder was a science vessel built for gathering information, not for fighting. The pulse came without warning. It was blue light, and it was the most terrible thing Devon had ever seen. The energy burned through his shields like they were made of paper. His ship lost power. The lights went out. In the darkness, Devon could hear his crew screaming. In the observation deck of Harmony Prime, the Council delegates watched data streams that showed the Pathfinder being disabled. Some of them felt satisfaction. The humans were being put in their place. Some of them felt nothing at all. Humans were simply a problem that needed solving. But Commander Harper, sitting in an empty room with his hands on his face, thought only of Captain Devon's final message. "We mean no harm. We seek only peace among the stars." The words echoed in Harper's mind. They were the words that had always described humanity's hope. But now those words meant nothing. Now they meant that humanity was weak. Now they meant that humanity was finished. Harper did not know that his daughter was already working on a plan. He did not know that she would soon take actions that would change everything. He did not know that the story was far from over. Right now, in this moment, Commander David Harper knew only that humanity had been found guilty of something they could not change. Humanity had been found guilty of being human. And that was the charge that could never be forgiven. 3 months had passed since Earth received the Category Red classification. The sky above the human mining colony on 442D was a dark purple color that never changed. The sun here was different from Earth's sun. It was smaller and cooler. It cast long shadows that seemed to have weight. Engineer walked through the tunnels of the mining station. The colony had 237 people. They mined rare minerals from the planet's crust. These minerals were valuable to many species in the galaxy, or at least they had been before the classification. Now everything was different. The supply ships had stopped coming. Communication with Earth was blocked. The colony was alone. Was 34 years old. She had been a mining engineer for 11 years. She had built 3 colonies from nothing. She knew rock and metal and machines. She did not know how to deal with isolation and fear. One of her team members, a young man named, came running toward her. Said, breathing hard, "You need to see this. We found something in the north sector, something that should not be there." Followed through the tunnels. The mining colony was vast, with passages that went deep into the planet. Lights hung from the ceiling. The walls were marked with colored lines that showed different sections. They came to a sealed door, had never seen a sealed door in the colony before. This door was metal and it was advanced. The technology was not human. "We broke through the old wall yesterday," said. "We were expanding Tunnel 7. We found this door behind the rock. We tried to open it, but it would not open. Then this morning it opened." Pulled out a scanning device. She ran it over the door. The device showed signatures of technology she did not recognize. Advanced technology, very advanced. The door was open about a hand's width. Could see movement inside. She could see light. "Step back," said. She pulled the door open the rest of the way. Inside was a large chamber. The chamber was lit by lights that hung from above. There were machines. There were observation windows, and inside cells behind clear barriers were humans. Counted 12 humans. They were dressed in mining colony uniforms. They were thin, very thin. Some were unconscious. Her blood turned to ice. "We have to get them out of here," said. "Wait," said. "We do not know what is happening. We do not know if this is a trap." But was already moving. She walked to the nearest cell. Inside was a woman. The woman had dark hair and hollow cheeks. Her eyes were open, but they did not focus. The barrier was made of something did not recognize. It was not metal. It was not glass. But when she pushed on it, it gave a little. It was solid but not rigid. She found controls on the side of the cell. She pressed them. The barrier opened with a sound like air rushing out. Picked the woman up. She was light, too light. This woman had not eaten well in many days. "We need medical equipment," said Tu. "We need help. Get the others and bring them here. Bring anything we can use to help these people. The alarm started while was opening the fifth cell. It was a sound that made teeth hurt, a warning sound, a danger sound. The lights in the chamber changed color. They turned red. Move, shouted. She grabbed the person she was holding and ran toward the door. Behind her was dragging another human out of a cell. The machines in the chamber started to make noise. Loud noise, screaming noise. Did not stop to understand what was happening. She ran, her legs burned, her lungs burned. She focused on the face of the unconscious woman in her arms. The person was real. The person was suffering. Everything else was secondary. They made it out of the chamber, kept running down the tunnels, was behind her, still holding the person he had pulled from a cell. Behind them, something exploded. The sound was massive. The tunnel shook. Dust filled the air. Kept running. She made it to the main medical center of the mining colony. She set the woman down on a bed. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the colony's senior doctor, was there. Her face went white when she saw the unconscious woman. "What is happening?" Sarah asked. "Medical emergency," said. "We need to help these people. There are others. Is bringing them. We need to be ready." Sarah and her team sprang into action. They had been trained for emergencies. They had machines and medicine and knowledge. They started to work. Over the next hours, all 12 humans were brought to the medical center. 7 were alive. 5 had not survived whatever the Vex had been doing to them in those cells. Sat in the center's main room. Her hands were covered in blood. Not all of it was from the rescue. The Vex arrived 3 hours later. They came in a ship that landed on the surface of the planet. They were beings made of purple gas inside clear suits. The suits moved with fluid motions that human joints could not copy. The lead Vex, Delegate Thorne, entered the colony with 2 others. It did not come with weapons drawn. It came as if it was simply walking into a building that it owned. "You have taken our subjects," Thorne said. The voice came through a speaker in the suit. "Return them immediately." Stood up, she had cleaned the blood from her hands. "Those are human beings," said. "They were imprisoned. They were being studied against their will. I will not return them to you. I will not let you harm them again." The Vex did not respond to her words with emotion. The Vex did not have emotion in the way humans understood emotion, but it did respond with action. Thorne raised an arm, and 2 of the Vex support drones moved forward. They were machines designed for protection and enforcement. "Did not step back. My people will defend this colony," said. Her voice was steady. She did not feel steady. She felt as if she was standing on the edge of a cliff and all around her was nothing but wind and darkness. "You will die," Thorne said. The words were simple. They were a statement of fact. "Maybe," said, "but the people you are holding will not go back with you." The first drone fired at a wall. The impact created a hole in the metal. The hole was smoking. But did not run. She did not flinch. She simply stood there. The Vex were beings of logic. Logic said that humans were weak and simple. Logic said that humans would break under pressure. Logic said that humans could be intimidated into submission. But was not breaking. She was doing something that the Vex did not have a word for in their language. She was standing firm for something that made no logical sense. She was risking her life for people she did not know well. She was choosing to die rather than abandon others. The Vex had classified humans as Category Red. They had classified humans as a threat. But they had underestimated what that threat actually was. Picked up a metal rod from the mining equipment. She held it like a weapon. "You will have to kill me," she said. "And if you do, the people inside this colony will fight you with everything they have. We will die, but we will not give you what you came for." The Vex did not move forward again. It watched the human woman standing with a metal rod in her hands, standing in front of a sealed door. And for the first time, the Vex understood something that all the data and calculations had not shown. Humans did not value survival above all things. Humans valued other people above survival. Harper sat in a small office on Harmony Prime Station. She had 70 hours left before she had to leave. She had 70 hours to save her species. The video of standing in front of the medical center had been broadcast across the human network. It had been seen by people on Earth. It had been seen by humans in every colony. It showed a woman choosing to protect others instead of choosing safety. The video had also been seen by the Vex Collective. They had sent a formal complaint to the council. They said that humans had attacked them without provocation. They said that the rescue of the prisoners was actually a theft of the Vex's research materials. They said that it committed an act of warfare. Knew the truth was different, but the truth did not matter in politics. What mattered was narrative. What mattered was control of information. Made a decision. She sat down at her communication console. She typed out a message with her hands shaking. To the delegation, I am requesting a formal audience with Sovereign. I am prepared to travel to present information that is vital to the classification review of humanity. She pressed send. She did not expect an answer. They did not speak to anyone. They did not leave their world. They did not involve themselves in galactic politics. The answer came in 8 minutes. Permission granted. A ship will collect you at sunrise tomorrow. You are invited to the come alone. Bring only what you can carry in your hands. Sovereign has agreed to see you. Read the message 3 times. She did not believe it was real. She read it a 4th time. It was real. The ship that came to collect her was small. It had no visible crew. It simply appeared at the docking station and opened its door. Walked inside with a single bag containing her clothes and her personal data device. The journey took 6 days. Had never traveled so far from human space. The stars changed. The colors changed. The very texture of space itself seemed different. They passed through regions of darkness and regions of light. They passed through asteroid fields that sparkled like diamonds. And then they arrived at the... It was like nothing had ever seen. The planet was vast. It had mountains that reached up into clouds of red and gold. It had cities made of structures that seemed to be growing from the ground rather than built upon it. Every building was organic. Every street was alive. The ship descended. It landed in a city that stretched from horizon to horizon. They themselves were visible walking through the streets. They were tall, slender beings. Their bodies seemed to be made of living light. They moved with grace and silence. Awaited for outside the ship. It did not speak. It gestured for her to follow. They walked through the city. People stopped to look at the human, felt their eyes. She felt afraid, but she kept walking. They came to a building that was larger than any other building. It rose up so high that had to bend her neck back to see the top. The entrance was a simple arch. Inside was a single chamber. The chamber was empty except for light. The light came from everywhere and nowhere, and in the center of the light sat Sovereign. The elder was old, could feel the age radiating from it like heat from a fire. 2 million years of life, 2 million years of watching species rise and fall, 2 million years of knowledge. Sit, Sovereign said. The voice was gentle, it was like a breeze. Sat down, she was sitting on nothing, but the air held her up. You have come to convince me that humanity should not be classified as Category Red, Sovereign said. It was not a question. Yes, said. I have come to convince you that humanity is being misunderstood. I have come to ask you to champion our cause before the Council. Why should I do this? Sovereign asked. Pulled out her data device. She opened the video of, she held out the device so that Sovereign could see. The video played. It showed standing in front of the medical center. It showed her refusing to move. It showed her facing down the Vex without weapons, without fear. When the video ended, Sovereign was silent for a long time. I have watched your species, Sovereign said. They have observed humanity for many of your centuries. We see things that other species do not see. What do you see? Asked. We see that humans are creatures of choice, Sovereign said. Humans have the ability to choose suffering instead of comfort. Humans have the ability to choose mercy instead of victory. This is the rarest thing in the universe. Most species choose what benefits them. Humans choose what benefits others. Will you help us? Asked. I will do more than help, Sovereign said. I will test you. If humanity truly possesses the qualities you describe, you will pass my test. If you fail, then the classification is correct and you deserve your fate. What is the test? Asked. That will be revealed in time, Sovereign said. You will return to your people. You will tell them what I have said. And then we will see if humanity stands by its words or if it abandons them when the cost becomes too high. What do I tell them? Asked. Tell them that they believe in them, Sovereign said. Tell them that they have been given a chance, and tell them that in 3 months they will face a choice that will determine the future of their entire species. Tell them that I will present that choice at the Council, and tell them that they must choose correctly. Left with more questions than answers. But she had something more valuable than answers. She had hope. She had been chosen as the voice of humanity. She had been given the responsibility of telling her people that they would be tested. When Ship arrived back at Harmony Prime, she immediately requested access to the human broadcast network. She recorded a message. She told the story of her journey. She told the story of Sovereign. She told the story of... "We are being tested," said, looking directly at the camera. "They have chosen to believe in us. They have chosen to champion our cause, but we must prove that we deserve that faith. In 3 months, we will face a choice. We will be given the opportunity to demonstrate what humans truly are." She paused. She looked tired but determined. "My father asked me once what humanity's greatest strength was. I did not have an answer then, but I know the answer now. It is our choice. It is our ability to choose compassion over fear. It is our ability to choose sacrifice over survival. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us worthy." Turned off the camera, she sat in silence. Outside the office window, the stars of the galaxy burned with cold light. Somewhere out there, alien species were preparing for war. Somewhere out there, humans were reading her message and deciding what they believed in. And somewhere else in the galaxy, Sovereign was watching and waiting to see if humanity the message came from the Intergalactic Council at sunrise on a Tuesday morning in the human calendar. It was a message that made the blood run cold in every military commander on Earth. A plague had broken out on the disease was unknown. The disease was deadly, though with all their advanced technology and all their logic could not stop it. Their crystal bodies were breaking down from the inside. The plague was killing them at a rate of thousands per hour. Though the species that had voted to classify humanity as Category Red were asking for help. They were asking the humans to send medical teams. They were asking the humans to send scientists. They were asking humanity to save them. The vote in the human government was not close. "It is a trap," General Stone said in the military council. "They want to capture our scientists. They want to study us. They want to use this crisis as a way to harvest human knowledge and human bodies." "We cannot send our people into a war zone," Admiral Lisa said. "We cannot send them into danger without knowing what they will face." Commander David Harper listened to the arguments. His daughter was listening too. She was sitting in the observation room above the council chamber. "We have to send help," said into the communication device. She was speaking directly to her father through his earpiece. Only he could hear her voice. "If we do not send help, we prove that they were right about us. We prove that we are only loyal when it benefits us. We prove that we are selfish." David Harper closed his eyes. He spoke so quietly that only his daughter could hear him. "I would be sending people to their death," he said. "Yes," said, "but that is what humans do. That is what makes us human. We go into the darkness for others." David Harper opened his eyes. He stood up from his seat. "We vote," he said to the council. "And we vote to send medical teams we vote to send doctors and scientists and support staff. We send our best people. And we send them with the full knowledge that this might be a trap, but we send them anyway." "You are mad," General Stone said. "Perhaps," David Harper said, "but we are sending help that is final." The volunteers came forward in numbers that shocked everyone. Over 3,000 people offered to go. Over 3,000 humans said they would travel to a hostile world to save a species that had tried to destroy them. The human government selected teams carefully. They selected the best doctors, the best researchers, the best support personnel, and they selected a leader. Captain Foster was selected to command the medical mission, was 41 years old. She had been in military medical service for 20 years. She had worked in disaster zones. She had worked in combat situations. She had never backed away from suffering. Stood in front of the volunteers. She was addressing them before departure. "We are going to said. "We are going to save lives. Some of you might die doing this. Some of you might be infected with the plague. Some of you might face betrayal. But we are going anyway, because that is what humans do. We go into darkness and light for others." She paused. She looked at each person. "I cannot guarantee your safety. I cannot guarantee that we will succeed. I cannot guarantee that we will return home. But I can guarantee that we will try. I can guarantee that we will not leave anyone behind. I can guarantee that we will stand by our principles even if it kills us." The ships departed. The journey took 8 days. During that time, medical teams prepared. They created protocols. They created backup plans. They created procedures for contamination and infection. They arrived to find a world in chaos. There were transparent creatures made of crystal. The plague was visible inside them. It looked like cracks spreading through their bodies. It looked like they were shattering from the inside. Bodies lay in the streets. The had simply stopped moving when the pain became too great. Did not hesitate, she led her team into the city. They did not attack them. They did not trap them. They received them with desperate hope. And her teams went to work immediately. They set up medical centers. They began analyzing the plague. They began testing treatments. The first week was agony. The humans worked around the clock. They tested compounds. They tested procedures. Nothing worked. The plague continued to spread. Worked harder, she did not sleep. She did not rest. She drove herself toward exhaustion because the only alternative was failure. On the 9th day of work, one of the medical facilities became contaminated. The plague had spread to the building. The filter systems had failed. The contamination was spreading. There were 12 inside the facility. There were 6 human medical personnel. If the contamination spread to the main medical center, thousands more would die. Made the choice. She put on a suit. She went into the contaminated facility. She entered without full protective equipment. She wanted to be able to move faster. She wanted to be able to help more. She carried out one by one in her arms with her own hands. She could feel the cold of their crystal bodies. She could feel the wrongness of their structure as it was damaged by the plague. But she did not stop. The 6 she carried out was too heavy. The suit was not designed for this kind of strain. The material tore. Felt the exposure. She felt the plague touch her skin. She did not stop. She carried out all 12. She saved all 6 of the human medical personnel. She locked down the facility. And then she went to the medical laboratory. The doctors knew what had happened. They knew that had been exposed to the plague. They tried to move her to isolation. Refused. I have work to do, she said. I am still useful. Use my blood, use my body. I do not care. We are close to a breakthrough. I can feel it. For 14 more hours, worked with the plague in her body. She felt the sickness coming. She felt the cold spreading through her, but she did not stop. And then one of her researchers, a young woman named Jessica, came running to her. We have it, Jessica said. We have the cure. The compound works. It stops the plague completely. Smiled, she sat down slowly. Begin distribution immediately, she said. We do not stop until every has been treated. Captain Foster, Jessica said. You need medical attention. You are dying. I know, said. After everyone else is saved, then you can treat me. But everyone else was treated before received treatment, because there were others sicker than her, because there were others who came first. Foster died 8 hours later. Her final message was recorded and sent to Earth. To the people of humanity, said, her voice was weak. I chose to come here. I chose to save I would make the same choice again. We are better than them, not because we are stronger, not because we are smarter. We are better because we choose to be. We choose to die for others. That is what makes us human. I am proud. I am so proud to be human. The message was broadcast across the galaxy. They received it. They watched their savior die. They watched a human choose death so that they could live. For the first time in their logical existence, they understood something that could not be calculated or measured. They understood what it meant to be saved by love. They understood what it meant when someone chose you above themselves. And they knew that when the vote came, they would have to change their position on humanity. The test was complete. The chamber of the Intergalactic Council was full. Every delegation had sent representatives. Every species had come to witness the vote that would determine humanity's fate. Sovereign stood at the center platform. The elder was presenting evidence to the council. The evidence was simple. It was the final message from Captain Foster. Sovereign played the video for the assembled delegates. His face filled every screen. Her voice was weak but clear. She spoke of choice. She spoke of compassion. She spoke of what it meant to be human. When the video ended, there was silence. The Vex representative stood up. This changes nothing, the Vex said. One human chose to sacrifice herself. This does not prove that all humans are noble. This proves only that one human was weak. It proves that she valued the lives of more than her own survival. This is insanity, not nobility. Is it insane to give your life for others? Sovereign asked. By logical measure, yes, the Vex said. It is the most illogical action possible. Then you have not been looking deeply enough, Sovereign said. Let me show you something. Let me show you what the younger species have forgotten. The Elder presented more videos of humans throughout history, humans rushing into burning buildings to save strangers, humans standing in front of weapons to protect children, humans donating organs to people they did not know, humans walking into plague zones to save those who were dying. The videos showed hundreds of examples, thousands of examples, all of them showing the same thing, humans choosing others above themselves. This is not insanity, Sovereign said. This is the highest form of consciousness. This is the ability to choose to suffer for principles. This is the ability to choose what is right over what is safe. The representative stood up. The crystal being walked to the center platform. The light from his body reflected across the chamber, creating colors that had no names. I have something to say, said. I have been the voice calling for humanity's classification as category red. I have been the one presenting data that shows humans are dangerous. That data was correct. Humans are dangerous, but I was wrong about why they are dangerous. His voice became quieter. Captain Foster died so that my people could live. She exposed herself to our plague. She worked while dying. She asked nothing in return. She wanted nothing from us. She simply did the right thing. Looked at each member of the council. The withdraw our support for the Category Red classification. We propose a new classification. We propose Category Gold. We propose that this classification be reserved for species that have demonstrated superior moral character. We propose that humanity be the first species to receive this classification. The chamber erupted. Every species began speaking at once. Some agreed, some disagreed, some demanded more information. The representative stood up. To support the Category Gold proposal, they said. We feared humans because they form bonds that cannot be broken, but those same bonds are what make them trustworthy. A human will die for their friends. A human will protect those they love. This is not a threat. This is a strength. One by one, the delegations voted. The older species voted in favor. The younger species voted against. The math was close, very close. When the vote was finished, the total was 32 in favor of Category Gold, 28 opposed. Humanity was removed from the most dangerous classification in the galaxy. Humanity was given a new status. Humanity had been recognized as a species worthy of respect. Commander David Harper received the news on Earth. He sat in his office in silence. He did not cry. He did not celebrate. He sat in silence and thought of all the humans who had died to make this moment possible. He thought of Captain Foster. He thought of those who had suffered on distant worlds. Was in the gallery when her father received the message. She watched as tears came to his eyes. She sent him a message. We did it, Father. Humanity has been reclassified. We have been recognized. Captain Foster did not die for nothing. David Harper replied with a single message. Captain Foster did not die for a classification. She died because it was the right thing to do. That is what humans are. That is who we are. A memorial was built. It was built in a place of honor in the center of the primary city. The memorial was simple. It was a statue of a human figure. The statue showed Captain Foster. It showed her standing with her arms out as if offering help to those around her. At the base of the memorial there was an inscription. It said, "She chose mercy when she could have chosen survival. In her choice, she taught the galaxy what humanity truly is." The inscription was written in the languages of 47 different species. Every species could read it. Every species could understand it. Humans from across the galaxy came to that memorial. They came to remember. They came to honor. They came to understand what their species had paid for recognition. On Earth, new ships were built, ships that would travel to other worlds, ships that would carry humans to distant stars, ships that would carry the message that humanity was no longer isolated. Humanity was no longer feared. Humanity had been accepted. Stood at a window overlooking Earth's spaceports. She watched the ships being prepared. She watched humanity stepping out into the galaxy. Her father stood beside her. Do you think we are ready? David asked. We have always been ready, said. We have always been the kind of species we needed to be. We just needed someone to give us the chance to prove it. Captain Foster gave us that chance, David said. No, said. We gave ourselves that chance. Every human who chose to help instead of hide. Every human who chose compassion instead of fear. Every human who chose what was right instead of what was safe. We gave ourselves that chance. Captain Foster simply showed the galaxy what we have always been. The two of them stood together and watched the future unfold. In the darkness of space, new ships traveled toward new worlds. They carried humans. They carried hope. They carried the message that humans were coming and that humans came not as conquerors but as helpers. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, other species began to understand something that they had almost forgotten. They began to understand that there was something in the universe worth more than survival. There was something worth more than dominance. There was something worth more than power. That something was compassion. That something was the willingness to choose others above yourself. That something was choice itself. And that something had a name. It was called humanity. The age of human isolation had ended. The age of human fear had ended. The age of human hope had begun. And across the galaxy, beings of countless species watched as humans walked into their future, carrying with them the light that would change everything. Humanity had been given a choice. Humanity had chosen compassion. And that choice would change everything. Choose correctly. The test was about to begin. This was the trait that the older species feared. This was the thing that made humans truly dangerous. And had just shown it to them in its form.